when you have certain kids who like really are bad at cleaning up after themselves, and like, I have to clean up everything after you.
Or your husband. Hey, what's up, guys? It's ex-mormon with My Spiritual Life, and today I'm so excited because I have Rachel from Post Mormon Parenting. If you haven't checked out her YouTube channel, you gotta check it out. Rachel, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. I'm super, super excited to be here with you, Morgan, and talk about our topic tonight.
Yay! Oh man, it's great. Me and Rachel love connecting through this little world of like freedom, like help people be free, and like let's unite forces and do more of that. So I'm so excited, Rachel, here. So the topic tonight I'm super excited about, it's try not to rush to save your kids. Is that how you say it? Is that the quote?
Yeah. Try not to rush to solve your kids' problems.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, save your kids. Oh no, we can't use the word save. It has religious context. So I'm super excited about this topic. And I asked Rachel to come speak about this because what I saw a lot growing up in Mormonism was there was a lot of women that had this kind of like martyr complex. Like, you have to be everything for your kids. You have to sacrifice everything for them. You have to put everything on the line. And you kind of a lot of them become like helicopter moms, and they just try to rush to fix all their kids' problems. And what it ends up happening is it causes problems for that kid. Because when you constantly are trying to fix someone, then they're getting the subconscious message that they're broken.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm so excited to talk about this. Rachel, thank you for your time. And yeah, let's do this. So tell me where you want to start.
Sure. So I'm going to start with an experience that I had. So I remember this because it's like, have you ever seen Inside Out, that movie? It's so good. Like all the emotions in her brain, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So she's got these like 5 core memories. And so I've got one that I feel like is one of my core memories that kind of makes up who I am as a person, or was like really, really a life-defining time. So I was in 4th grade, I'm like 8 or 9, and we have to do a book report and an art project. And I was just like binge reading the Boxcar Kids, the Boxcar Children, the Boxcar Kids. I can't remember. Anyway, I loved it. So I read like the whole series, and I did my book report on one of those books. And my art project that I was doing along with it, I decided to make a boxcar myself. Like I got materials from around my house. I got like a cardboard box and covered it with construction paper. I like stapled on some little like round wheels on it, made it look like little kids were living inside.
Aww.
It was really cute. And I was so proud of myself. I even designed and engineered this little sliding door made of cardboard too, that would like slide open and close, and like a teeny little doorknob. I was so proud of myself.
You should have been an engineer.
Right. Well, and like I did it all myself. Like I don't even think my parents knew that I had anything due. So I'm one of the last kids in a very, very big family. So I kind of like, I just knew all the time that it's not really worth it to ask mom and dad for help because they can't. They are literally have their hands too full to do anything extra. So I knew stuff like this, like it's all on me. Anyway, so I get to school, very proud of my project and my book report. And I put it up on like whatever counter we're supposed to put our art supplies on. And I'm looking around and seeing everybody else's art projects, and I'm super deflated. I'm embarrassed because mine is like literally the crappiest looking one there. In this whole classroom of like 20, 25 kids, I have the worst looking art project. And I was so embarrassed, and I just wanted to like shrink and hide. And it was this weird feeling of like how all of that pride and sense of accomplishment just deflated so quickly when I saw it compared to the other ones. But this cool thing happened during the day as I heard the other kids talking about their parents helping them and the stores that they went to buy all the supplies for stuff and like all the tiny little animals and people for their dioramas. everything looked so realistic, looked like an adult had done it. And then it occurred to me, like, their adults did this for them. not to say, not to accuse everyone of like,
right.
The adults did everything. Yeah. But it occurred to me that I was the only one in the whole class that did it all by myself. And then like my sense of accomplishment and my sense of pride came back, right? Like I was like, I'm the only kid in class that did it completely all by myself. So this was a really defining time for me because of the lessons that it showed me. It showed me I can do hard things. I can come up with something on my own. I can be creative. I can design something. I can engineer it. I can carry it out. I can get it done on time with no adult help, no adult supervision, nothing. And so I carried around that sense of pride and that like self-competency. I mean, basically all the rest of my life. And it wasn't just like a one of a kind experience. Like this happened over and over where my parents literally were not available and I really didn't have hardly any other resources. So I had to just like be really creative, forage for materials inside my house and outdoors, and just come up with whatever I could come up with. But that left me feeling with so much confidence and self-esteem. Like, I got this. I can do this. Because my parents like they couldn't even possibly be helicopter parents even if they wanted to.
Right. They didn't have time.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about how important this is for kids, that they develop their own self-confidence, that they can feel like, yeah, I get to think critically about something and I get to decide what it is I want to do and then carry that out. And I can learn how to plan and make goals and all those things, like without adults micromanaging me or telling me what to do every step of the way. Yeah. So really when we jump in to solve our kids' problems for them, we're really robbing them of all that and giving them this crippling view of themselves. Like you said, that they kind of feel like they're broken or they can't do things, because you're showing them that you don't think they can do things by themselves.
Every time you rescue them.
Exactly. Yeah. So they internalize that as they see that pattern over and over, they internalize that. So I want to make.
I'm gonna interrupt for a second because this is so exciting. It's such an exciting topic for me, and I know it's something I struggle with because I think sometimes we can over nurture because that's what we were taught, but sometimes we over nurture because we were under nurtured and we're worried about under nurturing our kids. Yeah. And I think in some respect, I grew up feeling under nurtured. And because of that, I feel the tendency to over nurture my son because I'm so worried about making the mistakes that, I felt like my parents made.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about this to me is like, it's like realizing that like it's almost impulsive. Like when my son tries to put his shoes on, because he's 2, when he tries to put them on, he immediately gets frustrated. And when he gets frustrated, what do I feel? I feel bad. I want to save him, But it's interesting, like you said, because we have to think about what message that's sending to our kids every time we try to save them. Now, obviously, as the parent, you want your kids to feel safe with you. You want to feel like they can depend on you. But you got to balance that with like not fixing all their problems for them.
Yeah.
Or you are sending the subconscious message that they can't do it, that they can't handle it, that they, you know what I mean? And so anyway, I'm just so excited about this topic. So thank you, Rachel.
Oh, thank you so much. So I do want to add one caveat here. So growing up in a big family, obviously, and being like one of the last in line, there wasn't a lot of attention available for me. And there definitely was a degree of neglect. So I'm not saying like, let's just romanticize great big families where parents are completely out of the picture of like their little kids just wandering around the neighborhood or wandering outside or like foraging for food for themselves in the kitchen. Like, let's not romanticize this. Like there were definite benefits for me growing up this way. And there were definite drawbacks that I want to make sure that I'm like having a balancing act for my kids. So trying to be self-aware of what brought me to where I am today and how can I pass that on to my kids without some of the more negative harmful aspects of what I went through as well. So yeah, like I said, it's a balancing act. You can't always you can't just like ignore your kids and let them do things on their own all the time. And you can't jump in and fix their problems all the time either. So you really got to be intentional about picking and choosing, like, this is a good growth opportunity for my kid that I can recognize, and I'm going to let them have it.
Yeah.
So some examples. So I don't know if you've ever seen the show Bluey. It's on Disney Plus. And
I've heard good things about it.
Oh my gosh. You can also find it on YouTube also. You can find several episodes on YouTube. But if you can spare the money and like just buy Disney Plus for Bluey itself, it is so good. Like, I'm a better parent because of watching Bluey. That and Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, they're so good.
Just so people know, it's Bluey, like the color, right? Like how you spell it. It's
Bluey.
Right. Because the first time I heard what it was called, I thought it was Louie. Anyway, just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, we can put a link to. It's so cute. Anyway, there's this great episode, spoiler alert, for this little kid show. So there's this really great episode where Bluey and her dad are sitting on a park bench and they're watching some of their friends and Bluey's little sister play around the park. And each of these kids is having a really hard time doing something. One of them is having a really hard time reaching the high monkey bars. Another is having a hard time getting a backpack on. Mm-hmm. And Bluey's little sister is having a hard time reaching the water fountain to get a drink. And Bluey says something to her dad about like, hey, we should go help them. And Bluey's dad's all, nah, let's just watch. See what they do. And they watch, and it's painful. It's so painful to watch these little kid animals, trying to do what they're trying to do. They're like doing it over and over and over and failing until eventually, like, where this is going. Like they figure out really creative ways of getting what they want. And Blue is like, wow, did you know that was going to happen? And then all of the kids afterward had this huge sense of accomplishment and like really big smiles on their faces that they wouldn't have had if Bluey's dad had just stepped in and like lifted up the little sister to get a drink or lifted the one up to the monkey bars or whatever. So it was just really, really cute. So if you get a chance to see the episode, you definitely should. So it can be really tempting to jump in to help your kids when they're trying to log on to Zoom or trying to tie their shoelaces or, whatever it is they're trying to, or sound out words. Oh my gosh, it's so painful, guys. So I have two kids that are like learning how to read. One's a grade ahead of the other and like it's better, but it's so painful. Oh man, listening to kids read and like, I just want to tell you what this word says so we can move on.
Right.
But, and like every parent of, little readers knows that's, you got to let them sound it out. But I think this gets harder when you have older kids too, and they're making decisions where there's more on the line. Mm-hmm. So again, like you got to be really intentional on picking your battles and saying, this is going to be a growth opportunity for my kid. It's better that they learn this lesson now when there's like a little bit on the line than them learn this lesson as an adult and they're like careers on the line or whatever. So that's tough. But it's really, really important. So let's talk about some of the things that the kids gain from these experiences. Like when you step back, keep your mouth quiet, right? It's so hard to do. Like just be quiet. Step back. What do kids gain? So they gain patience. They learn how to be really patient and wait for something that they're working on. They learn how to work hard and they learn the value of working hard to get it, right? Because they're the ones who are earning it. They learn how to be creative because if you're telling them the answers and they're not really using their brain power to imagine new scenarios, they learn critical thinking. They learn to choose between different solutions and say, I think that one would work best for my situation.
Yeah.
They get to, what else I have written down? They get to get pride in themselves. They get to get core memories like I did that show them like you are competent and you are able to do whatever it is you set your mind to. So they get that self-esteem also. This is something that I honestly like really didn't struggle with as a teenager like my peers did. I think especially for females, I don't know, I guess males too, but feel like as females, we talk about it more openly, like self-esteem issues, especially in your teenage years. Like it really wasn't that big of a deal for me because I already had this like solid foundation of all these experiences that gave me so much self-confidence in myself. So that was beautiful too.
Another thing I was going to add
Yeah.
to your list is, I think something that kind of crippled me as a child, not that it was intentional, but something I learned from my environment, was to be so afraid of failing. And I think if you like give your kids space to try and fail, then they realize like failing is not that big of a deal. And
Yeah. Yeah.
they learn to handle failure, because I think one of the problems I face as an adult is there's a lot of things I don't want to try because I'm just afraid of failing. I'm afraid of I can't handle failing, like emotionally or mentally, or like, do you know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
I think a powerful benefit could be if you're giving your kids, and again, a healthy balance, like you said, pick the battles, that you think are worthy of helping your child grow. And if you do that, they can learn to work through failure much better and treat it like it's not such a big deal. And then they feel more free to take more risks and actually try more things, because they're not so concerned about image and getting it right the first time.
Yes. Yes. And going along with what you said, getting comfortable with discomfort, like
Yeah.
learning that this is really frustrating. This is really uncomfortable to be working on this. And I feel exposed. I feel vulnerable. I'm the only fourth grader in my class with this homemade looking project, But if you can get comfortable with that discomfort and understand like that's a normal part of life, you don't have to run away from it. It's okay.
Yeah.
That itself is huge too.
That's
Love
really
that.
cool, right?
Yeah.
Because I think as a parent, it's like we want to rescue our kids from anything uncomfortable. And it's almost like it's just ingrained in us. Like we see them struggling with something and we just want to help. And I think part of that is I think it's kind of biological. It's like we're the mom, we're supposed to be
Yeah.
the hero or whatever. But I also think that so much of our identity as a mother is probably wrapped around being useful, being helpful. And sometimes we think the best way to be helpful is to rescue them. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes
Yeah.
rescuing them actually hurts them more than it helps them.
Yeah.
But easier said than done, right? Because it really is impulsive, and you got to start to ask yourself as a parent, when you're seeing these examples where, oh, this could be a good learning opportunity, but you jump in anyway, ask yourself, why am I jumping in? What do I feel I need? Why do I feel I need to fix this? And just ask yourself, because you might learn more about what's going on with you, that they are triggering you. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that myself, because I know with my son, when I see him getting frustrated, like it's just like I just feel like I have to help him, and I got to remind myself, like, what is going to serve him more in this situation, me helping him or him trying? And sometimes the answer is going to be me helping him, but
Yeah. Especially if you're running late and he can't get his shoes on, like, I'm just gonna do that for you. We have to go. This is not a learning opportunity right now.
We don't have time to learn today, son. But yeah, I don't know. I just love this. I think it's very near and dear to my heart, and it's making me think about, as a mom, what where am I getting my purpose, and maybe it needs to change a little bit, so that I don't feel like so impulsive in rescuing him.
Yeah. Another thing too that's so tempting, especially given our background in Mormonism, is that we want so much to give the answers to questions too, instead of letting them figure out the answers or figure out how to get around to finding out the answers.
Yes.
We like to give them the answers because that was what we were so proud of our religion for, right? Like our religion, we have the answers. Come join us, everybody. We know things.
Right,
We know the answers to all of life's biggest questions. You don't have to wonder anymore.
You don't have to,
So,
you don't have to think.
you
Even.
don't
We
even
have
have
the
to
answer
think.
right here. And doesn't that feel
Yeah.
good? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Isn't that so
and it
comforting?
puts so much pressure on us as parents, like that's the mantle we have to uphold, that we have we know everything. It's so it's intimidating, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
So
and
to
Brent,
let go of that and say, what do you think? That's like my biggest number one response when my kids ask questions now is, what do you think? How far away is the sun? What do you think? Why do cats land on their feet? Literally came up today. What do you think? And anything that they come up with, I can say, like, how can we find out the answer to that? Or how do you think someone found out the answer to how far away some planet is, or how long it takes for the Earth to go around the sun,
my God,
And
I
so that
love
like
that.
really helps their brains
Like,
grow and develop and stretch. Yeah, yeah. But
right.
what we really want is for them to be able to think for themselves, right?
Right.
So that
I
starts
love
now.
those. I love those examples, because that's so easy to implement as a parent. Like just saying, "What do you think?"
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
especially love the example you said about how do you think someone went about solving that problem? Because
yeah,
what you're encouraging your child to do is to think so deeply about something. This is making me very excited because I think too often as children we were just kind of shut down, like, well, here's the answer right here.
yeah,
This is what
yeah,
it is. Don't think about it. I remember when I was a teenager, someone asked me what my opinion on abortion was, and I'm not going to get into politics, but I was like, oh, I don't know, let me go ask my mom.
yeah,
And I was like, hey mom, what does the church say about abortion? And
yeah,
and then I was like, oh, well, that's what I think. Obviously I didn't, you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like
yeah.
there was no thinking about it. It was just like being told what my opinion was. And I just feel like that's not the best way to live life, just
Right.
like repeating what you're told your opinion is.
Yes, yes. And you can really get into some dangerous situations there when you're just like, I'm sorry, Supreme Leader, what is our opinion on this? Oh, thank you. Got it. The
Nailed it.
thinking has been done.
I love that.
Yeah, one time when I was a kid, I guess I'd recently learned about the parting of the Red Sea and all the Israelites walking across on dry land. And I was like, how would that work? Just like being really curious, not necessarily even being doubtful or skeptical, just wondering, like, what does that look like? Is it like go like a water of a bridge over and then on the other side? Is there like parting? Is there like water stops and then there's like nothing what does that even look like? And my mom, sensing that I was actually doubting the story, said
Oh,
something really, she shut me down. She really
right,
shut me
right.
down right away. And that's when I learned, like, okay, it's not okay
To
to
think.
be very curious, or at least to voice it out loud. You
Yeah,
think about it in your
yeah.
head, but no, you don't ask those questions.
Right,
But I
right.
want my kids to understand, like, no, you can ask any question. Any question is fine. And let's think about it together and let's figure it out. So anyway, so for my next part, I'm going to transition a little bit here. I don't know if you guys have heard of the podcast 3 and 30 for Moms. Have you heard of that, Morgan?
No, no, I haven't.
Really, really, it's really helpful, very informative. It's done by a mom, and
Mhm.
it's like 30-minute episodes, so they're kind of short. And she always does like 3 takeaways. So she talks about a topic for 30 minutes, 3 takeaways that are doable and memorable that you can go home and do right now.
Love
And
that. I love that.
yeah, I don't know why it always bothers me that it's like a podcast for moms. I mean, like dads are parents too. I don't know. Anyhow, for whatever reason, it's for moms. So, but I'd like to do my 3 takeaways for this topic. So here's some doable things you can do right now, today, with your kids to start practicing. I think we mentioned a couple already, but I'm going to give like 3 fresh ones.
There
Here we
you
go.
go.
Number 1 is don't offer to help if they're not asking. If they're not asking your help, don't step in. Just be quiet. It's painful to watch, I know, but just don't say anything. That's number 1. Don't offer to help if they're not asking. Number 2, if you think they might help, but you're pretty sure like they could probably figure it out on their own. Make yourself busy. Use that time to like take a trip to the restroom or get on the phone or something. Just like make yourself fun of it. I do this all the time. I actually like broke my feet the other day. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm up on the couch. I can't help you at all. You're gonna have to figure out how to heat up chicken nuggets and cut up an apple all by yourself, 7-year-old. I know you can do it. And he really stepped up to the plate. And it helped him feel like, oh yeah, mom needs me. She needs me. I can contribute in a meaningful way.
Right.
It made him feel really good. It made me feel really good. Like, phew, thank goodness he can warm his own lunch up, or else we would all starve. Try to make yourself unavailable if you think that they're going to ask you for something, but you think they can handle it themselves. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is if they actually really do need help, don't give them the answer right away. Like let them fail a couple times and then give them a hint, or sometimes what we call a prompt. So if say like they're tying their shoes, you can do like the first step for them. And you make that face, you make that face and you're like, they know what to do next, or like my favorite, as a parent, we forget our words all the time. Like, you need to go get your backpack, the backpack, go get it. But if you just stand there and like, you need to go get your, they know what to do. Like they'll just fill in the answer. So you give them a prompt. Anyway, that was kind of a long, silly story, but like you give them a prompt, you give them a hint, you let them fill in the blank. If they're sounding out a word, you give them the first sound, and then you can like increase the prompts as needed. Maybe they need the first step and second step of tying their shoe. Maybe they need you to put in like the first letter of the password, and then they'll remember the next for logging in to their class on Zoom. Or maybe they just need like a little bit of a reminder, and then they'll remember what comes next.
Right.
So things like that. So don't give them the whole answer or show them the whole way of how to do it. Give them a prompt and let them finish. And if that still doesn't work, like, maybe they need a little more training and teaching in this, whatever it is. So those are our 3 takeaways. Number 1, don't offer help unless they ask. Number 2, try to make yourself unavailable so they see that you can't help, if possible. And number 3, if they really do need help, offer them a hint or a prompt instead of doing the whole thing for them right away.
That's so cool. I love that. Thank you for those takeaways, Rachel. I love that it's like all really easy things to do. And another one that I loved from this video today was just ask them, what do you think? And just, that
can be our 4th takeaway.
We'll just throw that in there. I just love that just because I feel like it's just so encouraging of just really expanding their mind instead of shutting it down, which is, I think, kind of what our parents' generation kind of just knew how to do. It was like, oh, you shut down inappropriate things or whatever. And so I just love that. I love that direction, and I love the vibe of these tips.
Thank you.
And one more thing I was gonna add, and is that as a parent, like I think we can feel this pressure to be this perfect parent for our kids. It is not possible, right? And I think the more you can actually like give yourself permission to kind of take the pressure off yourself, you could maybe even start to really enjoy this type of parenting, right? Because then it's like, you're not everyone's hero. Like, yes, your kids, need you and you're there for them, but also like they're capable. And I think there's no better attitude you could pass on to your child than a, you've got this kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And I think these tips can help encourage that. Like if you want to pass a message on to your kid, let it be, you've got this and not, you don't got this and I have to fix everything that you do and I have to redo it. So I love it.
Which is seriously hard when you have certain kids who like really are bad at cleaning up after themselves and like, I have to clean up everything after you. You're never gonna learn, you quiet.
Yeah. Or your husband. Just kidding.
You didn't hear it from me. I'm sure he thinks the same thing about me too sometimes. So like, how could she leave this here?
Right. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. I laughed way too hard at that. The joke was funny until I laughed way too hard at it. Then it was offensive to Jared. Oh my God.
It's a good thing we're all good friends with him and we know him well enough.
Yes, we are. Oh, yes. Rachel, any closing thoughts before we sign off?
One last thing I wanted to mention is as we're trying to teach this to our kids, don't forget to apply it to yourself also. Now that we're post Mormon, ex-mormon, whatever, we get to be in this like weird unknown space where we're figuring things out. So give yourself permission and tell yourself that's a valuable way to live. We used to think like that's a terrible, sad, depressing way to live. But now on the other side, we see like, no, actually, there's a lot of joy and beauty in living this way. And there's a lot of wonder and curiosity, and like life is really fun and vibrant, and there's so many things to figure out and explore, and the whole world is like mine to figure out. So show your kids your love of curiosity and figuring things out, and show them that you're working on understanding and figuring things out. You don't have all the answers. And they don't need to either. They don't need to know right now exactly how to do everything perfectly. And if they see that example from you, that'll help them internalize that for them as well. Like, it's okay. I don't have to know the answers. I don't have to do everything right now. It's important that I'm trying, and that I'm learning, and that I'm growing, and I'm working on it.
And that's enough. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Yeah, you're so welcome. It's been such a fun journey. I mean, like, you know how it is when you like leave something like Mormonism. It's ups and downs and it's a roller coaster, but this kind of stuff makes me so excited and just like really loving this part of the journey.
That's so cool. Yeah. You're making me pumped for, especially as my kids get older, like, and I'm excited to challenge them to think and to grow and to, obviously, I mean, I can do that now, but he's 2, so I can only do it to an extent. Put your own dang shoes on. Anyway, thank you so much, Rachel, for coming on my channel today. I super appreciate it. If you guys haven't checked out Rachel's channel on YouTube, you've got to go check it out. It's Post Mormon Parenting. I was so excited when I learned that Rachel was covering this topic when she created her channel, because it's a very specific and very needed topic. Because when you leave Mormonism, it's a huge struggle as a parent to know how to handle, like, because most of us had this vision of, well, we're going to be a Mormon parent, and that came with all the answers and the rules and the everything. And so I love that Rachel's hitting on these different topics, and she's also got some funny videos too, like you did the coffee one.
Oh my gosh, that's my absolute favorite.
Yes.
It's nothing to do with like a little bit of parenting, because we get coffee now as parents, and that's a big change.
Totally tied that in. Nailed it. So definitely go check out her channel. The link's going to be in the description, and I'm sure Rachel will be back for more. Oh, and Jared did a video with her and ex-mormon over there. So if you want to check that out, that's on her channel. That was super cool.
It was so fun.
That was cool.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please comment down below your thoughts about these tips and how you might implement them with your kids, or maybe your husband
or yours. I was gonna say yourself, or maybe your spouse or something like that too.
Oh man, I gotta tell Jared how much I made fun of him in this video. He wasn't even here to defend himself. Anyway,
it's like, I'm watching our kids, so you could do this.
I know, right? You can just talk shit about me. Oh my god. All right, well,
we love you, Jared.
Hopefully Jared will forgive me. Thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and a huge thanks to our Patreon supporters. We couldn't do this channel without you, so thank you so much. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Bye-bye.